So today, day 34, we're going to be looking at giving back. And I will really focus on how we can impact others' lives and generally our community or any location where we find ourselves. Because as we have discussed about how your life needs to be gaining momentum, how you need to progress, how you need to continue to move forward and aim towards achieving your goals and overall reaching the point of fulfillment in your purpose, you need to realize that you must necessarily leave indelible mark or marks in the sand of time. And this conversation is one of the ways by which you can achieve that. How can you live a life of impact? How can you ensure that everywhere you go, they know that, yes, someone has been here or someone is here, whichever is the case, because of the level of influence and the impact that you make. So it's important that you see this as part and parcel of your life's journey, giving back. It's highly essential, highly essential. Whichever dimension of life you are dealing with, you need to ensure that you always seek the opportunity to give back. So let's start by looking at what exactly does this giving back means. Life, as we all know it, is full of problems. In fact, I've come to realize that a simple word or phrase that you can use to define life, this life, THIS, life, this life, is problem. Okay? Problem. Turn anywhere, any element you see, objects, living, non living, it's a source of problem, as it were. Everything is a source of problem. Like I told you, even as we are trying to solve a problem, new problems are emerging. So that's the way this life is. And one of the ways by which you can approach the solutions to problem is through giving back, because you must see yourself first through your self-awareness as solution. Okay, the reason why you are here, born on earth, why.
Hello?
Oh, sorry, I was muted mistakenly. So I said one of the reasons why you're here on earth, why one of the reasons why you're born, is for you to understand the fact that you are made to be a solution to certain causes, to certain dimension of problems. So every life is created in such a way that you are wired, you are coded. There are certain algorithms that have been encrypted in each of our DNAs that's supposed to bring about a product or a solution to known and unknown problems, because there are some problems that you need to intentionally research for you to discover and know them, then you'll be able to provide solution to them. So that's the way life is. So that's what gives us the concept of giving back, because the expression or how you go about expressing those solutions or seeking for ways to intervene or play your part in making the contributions to deliver the solution is what we call giving back. Some other people will call it works of charity or charity, as it were. But I wouldn't use that word because um, it's not just about social enterprise. It's not just about the social giving. This is a purposeful giving. We are talking about a purposeful giving. It's not just because you are being coerced or you see an opportunity where you want to take advantage. No, it's about a purposeful giving. And you'll see by the time we begin to dissect all these things, you see how this thing connects solely to your purpose and why you have to be driven by purpose before you engage in these subjects. Another thing you need to also understand is the fact that because you are trying to provide solution to causes or to problems, the expectation is that the outcome must be positive. please, you need to take note of this, because when you see so many charitable causes out there, and rather than solving the problem, they are even aggravating the problem, you will know that the premise of the understanding of the action or the subject they are being engaged in is totally warped and is incorrect. You see some organization telling you that they're actually offering some giving back activities or they are doing some charitable activities. Rather, they are aggravating the problem in that location, in the community, or in the lives of the people, rather than solving it. So it is expected that the focus on the outcome of giving back has to be positive, has to bring about, a progressive demand on success. Okay, it must enhance or ensure growth and peace, as we defined yesterday. If it's not going to do that, then it is not the real concept of giving back. You must be able to alleviate problems. You must be able to eradicate or eliminate the presence of problems, and how you go about it is part of, what giving back also is all about. Remember when we're talking about purpose, when we're talking about life assignment, and I was trying to to distinguish between work, right, your work, and your job. Whereas I said job is what you are being paid to do, and you will necessarily retire on job, but your work is what is totally fixed on your purpose. And think about it. What is that thing that you don't need to be paid for you to be able to execute, for you to be able to immerse yourself in and pursue? That is not just your job. That goes beyond your job. Something that even when they tell you that you have reached your retirement age, you're still given with so much passion, you know, it could evoke up passion for you to continue to pursue that cause. So this is totally, embedded in the concept or in the subject of giving back. So it's very important. And when we are talking about giving back, you also need to know that it's not just about you rendering help to people. Because when you want to help, people have different reasons. Either it's self-driven or it's selflessness. There are different reasons upon which people try to help. They will say one good turns deserve another. When you begin to think in this direction, that is not the true concept of giving back. Okay. And like we know, it is more blessed to give than to receive. So the purpose of giving back is because it is necessity is laid on you, because this is an integral path or a major element that makes up your purpose. So just imagine if you remove the hand out of your body, you talk about decapitation. Your hand is being cut off. Your entire body cannot be whole. You can't just be yourself. Or one eye is removed, one ear is cut off, or even just a little strand of your finger is what is cut off or broken. You'll see how incomplete your entire body will look like. That's the same way when you remove, giving back out of the streams of your purpose as you pursue your purpose, then you will see the incompleteness in the pursuit of your purpose. So it is expected that everyone, to whatever degree, everyone in pursuit of fulfillment of purpose will find a way to connect to giving back at whatever level or whatever degree, will find a way to connect to it, because it is part of your commissioning. It is part of your responsibility. It's part of the demand that purpose has laid upon you, which you need to identify. Okay. Just to remember the word of the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Sir Winston Churchill. He says, "We make a living by what we get, which is your job, but we make a life by what we give." So you can see that many people are alive, but they are just living. And what that means is people are just counting the days and the months and the years, but they are not doing life, because there's a difference between living and doing life. Doing life is you aiming towards achieving purpose, while living is just you trying to, undo some responsibilities of life, paying bills and all of that. And I always ask people, what next after payment of bills, right? What else after payment of bills? Because what helps if the struggles about even payment of bills comes in? Does that mean that life is not larger than that? So I think Winston Churchill captured it very well in his thinking, that beyond just living, pursuing the money and pursuing things that will give you existential relevance, that is showing that you are just existing and keeping space, right? Is the fact that you also need to, as you are keeping space, you need to have an influence within the space that you're keeping. Okay, Wick now talks about evidence, not just existence. Your evidential relevance is very, very important. And you see, all these acts are what will really reveal to people who you truly are, not the fact that people are seeing you, on a daily basis. Okay. So moving away from this understanding, how then do you think that you can engage in giving back? Before I show you some of uh, the different ways by which you can give back, this can be seen in two categories. You can give back as an individual, meaning you as an individual, you can look for ways by which you create some opportunity within the pursuit of your purpose. Okay, there are things you can do selflessly on your own terms by yourself. Okay, part of this might be ways by which you want to leverage on your soft skills, you want to leverage on your potentials, you want to leverage on things that you know, uh, um, just like what we've been doing for the past few weeks, past couple of days now, right? In the form of giving back, right? Because I could go to this length and this extent to engage each and every one of you, right? And this is individual to me, this is personal to me. So you can also look at this in view of your purpose. What are those things that you think you can do to enhance the quality of the life of other people, to kind of like improve on their growth and support them in order for them to be able to emerge, as true success, as they're living their life. So it's part of what you can do, you know. And you need to do this because when you look at the way the world is, like I said, problems everywhere, you want to be rest assured that if there are no people who are consciously going to be living to fulfill their purpose from this perspective of giving back, the chaos and the confusion in the world will continue to aggravate. Already we have chaotic situations, we have chaotic moments filled the entire world, right? But we need to abate this. We need to fight this head on and ensure that we reduce, eliminate, or eradicate the chaos. There's this spirit of confusion hovering over everywhere, right? How you need to deal with it is to look at how to rescue people one after the other, is one person per time, right? So that's a way for you to actually begin to look at how to give back. You can do this kind of mentorship. You can look at coaching other people. You can look at ways by which you can counsel and give people proper direction through your skill sets. And it can happen at any dimension of your life, albeit spiritual, in those areas where you find relevance spiritually, and look at ways by which you can help improve the lives of other people, as simple as even praying and interceding for people. Then you can also look at, your physical life and other dimensions of your life, how you can connect to people. And I tell people, you don't need to even seek for people in some cases, except you have these particular demographics, particular category of people that you want to look for, right? Who you don't have direct access to. Then you can now strategize on how to assess them before you then engage them. But generally, you meet people on a daily basis. So life in itself is orchestrated in such a way that you are disposed to have no excuse not to engage in giving back, because it is an essential part of your pursuit of fulfillment of your purpose. Then you can now look at it at a broader level, where you begin to think about the need for collaboration, okay? Because at that scale, there's a need for you to bring about transformation. There's a need for you to bring about sustainable change, because when you're talking about transforming a nation, transforming a community, where you have cluster of people with similar interests or dissimilar interests in terms of their norms, their inclinations, their ideologies. I mean, all this kind of level of complexity in the understanding of human within clusters. People cluster for different reasons. You see people with different languages, but what unites them is, in terms of commonality, is the work they're doing. Maybe their projects, or because they're working in the same organization, pursuing strategic objective of the organization. So, I mean, you see people with these different categories of definition of what seems to be their culture. And in some cases, it might just be simply because they speak the same language, and then they are clustered together, and then they live in the same environment. I remember the few time I lived in the north, this is how you find people in communities. You see them in clusters based on their tribes. You see a location in just where everybody living on the streets there are just from the Igbo tribe. You get to another place, everybody living there are just Yoruba tribe. You get to another place, they are all Hausas. In fact, in the middle belt, anywhere you hear a location being called Sabo, either Sabongeri and all of that, you know that definitely is a cluster of Hausas that live there. I mean, I can go on and on. So, but you need to just understand the different clusters of people in order for you to be able to identify which one, resonates well with you, in order for you to be able to engage, collaborate at that level with them. But by and large, the need why you need to engage at that level is simply because there is a need for transformation, there's a need for change. And this should happen across board, impacting, at all levels. Okay, whatever is the different dimension of the life of people, spiritually, medically, talking about even the system of governance and leadership, which has always been the major pain point, in this part of the world, right? So you need to find a way to kind of like engage, to make contribution to the process of bringing about the transformation and change. So that is what happened at the level of, the broader level, which has to do with the cluster of people that we call community or society. So these are the reasons why giving back are very, very important. Lives must change individually, and at the larger perspective, our community, our society, our nation, our continent, the entire world must change. And it takes a man, it takes a man to bring about some of these changes with the consciousness of the fact that it's part of our responsibilities. So, what are some of the ways? I know some of these things are actually cutting for you because some of us are already operating at this level. So, I would really like to hear some of our feedbacks and experiences, of what we do in giving back. But just to show you some of the ways, number one, you can easily connect through volunteer service. So, volunteering is one of the main experiences. Okay, through volunteering, you will be able to have opportunity to give back, either on your own terms or on a collective terms. You're volunteering within a local community where you belong to, they will have their own terms of reference. So before you join any volunteer service, community service, you need to be sure that you have alignment with value system, alignment with, of course, when I'm talking about values, I'm talking about the core values of the establishment of such community or initiative. Then you also want to ensure that the purpose and the mission of such community or such initiative also aligns with your own purpose. Okay, otherwise like I said the other time, you will be wrongly influenced with negative energy and negative impact that will have on you. So you see some people that they call them repentant converts, okay, because they feel that their trajectory, just imagine everything we've done in the past over 30 days now. All of a sudden, after we finish on the final day and you step back into your space, you're doing life, and something just happened and invalidates almost everything. Like it's just a wasted time you've spent here in the past couple of days, right? And then you now begin to navigate or triangulate your life in another direction. So this is what happens to some people, you know. So you need to be very careful when you're making decisions on how to put yourself within spaces where you want to do your volunteer service. Uh, in some other terms, you can actually simply make decisions on what you want to give as a form of donation. Okay. When we're talking about donation, we're not just talking about money. We are talking about your possessions. We are talking about uh, your items. I'm sure most of the places where we relate to, some of these things are part of the practices, you know, maybe on special occasion or on a dedicated time or event. You see, you know, people making contributions of maybe part of what they have, sharing with other people, you know, they bring in their clothes, whatever items they are no longer using in the house, they bring it out, you know, and give it to those that are actually in need of it. You know, so these are different ways by which you can actually do that. But the whole concept is you're actually meeting the needs of other people. Okay, you're actually meeting the needs of other people. Um, if this aspect of giving back is what you want to engage in, you need to be very, very sure that those are receiving your largesse, those are receiving your kind gesture, your form of giving back are those that truly need it. Because again, as part of the problem you're going to deal with in this world, you have people who are disposed to greediness, those that are disposed to, sorry, greed, you know, is part and parcel of them. They've built that capacity for greed to have, you know, a solace in them. So you need to be able to find a way to curtail yourself from this so that you are not improving on the quality of what greed has done around in their life. Then the other way is, you know, we have modular communities where we also flow and where we, belong and pledge allegiance, so to speak, either in our career, even spiritually, or in other dimensions of life. One of the things you can do is for you to identify those areas where you can then learn your expertise. Okay. And don't forget, like I mentioned, why this is important is because you need to do the work and not necessarily the job. So after you have done the job, there's also the aspect of the work you need to do. So just imagine what you do on a daily basis from 8 to 5 or 8 to 4. If you are meant to do the same thing outside of the job for you not to be paid, will you still do it? Okay. And if you would do it, to what degree and to what extent are you going to do it? So if you are being paid to do it on a normal day, what giving back is saying is you should not find it very difficult to do it also on a normal day without being paid. And that is why I told you about the concept of pro bono, right? So it is exactly what this is all about. You have been learning different skills set and all of that. Through volunteer service, you can sharpen and develop, keenly develop, this skills set. And by the time you begin to develop it, it's not just only for you to now then begin to monetize it. It's also a way for you to use it to transform people's lives, right? And then other expression you can find is through creation of awareness of a particular cause or making strong advocacy, about solutions. The easy one to connect with has to do with a global problem called climate change. Since 2015, there has been advocacy on taking climate actions. You have the 17 SDG Sustainable Development Goals, And there have been different initiatives built around each of these goals. Either is on education, is on eradication of poverty, is on empowering people, to create jobs, or doing sustainable cities and communities, or is about gender equality or gender inequality. I mean, all of this, name it. There are different initiatives that one can create around them, with the mindset of creating proper awareness and making advocacy, for people to take action. And to some extent, some has even turned these charitable causes or these work into jobs, right? What I mean by that is when you set up an organization to oversee this operation of the causes through awareness, operation on advocacy, operation on training, operation on empowerment, of whatever the solution frameworks will look like. Some people have turned it to work. Some have turned it to work in such a way that that's what they do, 8 to 5. It's good. So there has to be an interplay between job and work. But here is the challenge, especially for those that are working within that space. At what point are you going to cut the tie, or are you going to do the clear demarcation of when to give in to work and when to give in to job? The fact that what other people will do as work is what you are doing as job. So how then do you cut ties? Because you can't live a fulfilled life until when you two have given, some level of connect and engagement in giving back. So these are some of the struggles that some people who function within those spaces are going to face in order for them to make the right decisions and well informed. But whatever it is, it's just like someone that is working in a particular industry, and that is where you are being paid. I mean, you have a job, employment opportunity in a particular area where you are being paid, and in some other areas where you find relevance, then you give back in those areas. Someone can be working in oil and gas company or in a bank, and the way you are doing your giving back has to do with another industry entirely, right? So this can be given. So you just need to understand the responsibility that you have for you to operate within that space. There are so many other ways by which you can give back, which I believe some of them you're already connected to. But if I may add to this, is also for you to consider involvement around certain subjects or key problematic or thematic areas, something like leadership. And leadership cuts across different levels. You have leadership at the local level, at the national level, state level, and you also have leadership at the global level, right? Some will prefer to connect and give back at the global level of leadership, where we have global governance, okay? So you want to ensure that you have a proper skill set that can help you to engage at that level so that you can create impact. I remember some time ago when I saw that I have an inclination towards global leadership. I had to do a diploma course in corporate governance, and then did some things about international relations and international diplomacy. It gave me a wider understanding of how people can be involved. I don't need to study law. I don't need to study international relations as a course, or I don't need to be certified even as what's it called now, a trained diplomat, but because of passion that one has towards that, from that training and the diploma I did, I could see how one can emerge. It's like it's a lifelong journey, and through volunteer service, you can emerge and fill into that space. So the same thing happened to all other courses. For instance, I know someone will imagine there are certain specialized advocacy or awareness initiative that will require specialized disciplines or skill sets. Yeah, I totally agree. However, some of these things can actually be learned. I remember when I was many years ago, also when I was involved in public health implementation program in local community, um, as a young person who was passionate about taking affordable health care services to rural areas and people who are living within less opportune communities. I mean, I wasn't trained to be a medical personnel, even in the least as a midwife or whatever. But along the way, as a volunteer, working with some medical organizations or medical oriented organizations who are passionate in the same thing, I was able to learn simple things, ways to diagnose, way to interrogate people in order to be able to inquire, to know about their problem. Then you can now refer them. I mean, more like running, a community clinic and all of that, So some of these things at the basic level, right? At the basic level, just think about some of these things at the basic level. Even it's going to be intervention or first aid, you know, everybody can learn some of these things if it's something that is channeled towards the direction of your purpose. Okay. So from this point onward, the thing you need to now begin to do is to make up your mind on what direction you want to go, because there are too many courses out there, so many things. And you can be so passionate that you will be lured into doing too many things. At the end of the day, may not even add up to your progress. So what I mean is taking action and determining or making choices on what to do is equally important to understanding the fact that you need to do it, right? Because it's not just about you going about doing it, but knowing the specificity, the direction that you need to move, the specific direction, the specific thing about giving back that you need to do. And this must connect, critically with your purpose. One will be so busy and yet not making impact. Sometimes when I see people living life in that direction or at that terms, I mean, it's quite pitiable because it's not just about the time, it's not just about the contribution you make, but how does this also affect and positively impact your own life? It's what matters, right? It's what matters. So let's not think that, oh, if I'm not there to do it, it's not going to be done. No, there are over 8 billion people, just like the way I used to tell people that you can't solve all problems. Don't try to do that. Is a way of ensnaring yourself to think that you can be everywhere and doing everything is going to work against you because of the necessity of learning time management skill, and two, because there will always not be enough time to deliver value across board. So you need to be selective and be focused on purpose. So this is very important. So the first step usually is you have to determine what exactly is going to enable you to make impact. Okay, do you want to use your skill sets, or you want to use your possession? Okay, or you want to do the combination of both? This will give you some kind of level of direction. It's going to be about your skill sets. You know definitely that you have to now be highly selective on which skill of your dominant skills. And let me also mention here that when you want to move in direction of your skill set, make sure that is your dominant skill set. Don't go and leverage on some potential skill sets, like what you are not already succeeding at. Is that what you want to use to solve problem? It's going to have a fallback. It's going to also expose you unnecessarily and make you vulnerable, because once you begin to immerse yourself through volunteer service or immerse yourself in solving a problem, there will be a greater demand on you until that problem is solved. And God help you, because you're already putting forward, something that you are not excelling at. You can easily predict what will be the outcome, no matter how much or whatever amount of resources that you have deployed into ensuring getting result there, you will not get the equal amount of results. So it's not just passion that will drive. It's not just the desire that will drive. It's not just the understanding that you have certain skill set that will drive. Is actually the orientation towards achieving success that will enable you to establish the impact. When you are focused on achieving success against all odds, right, you will definitely see that the impact is going to be felt. And these also speak to the growth mindset where you are inclined on excellence. It's very, very, very important. So I used to tell people the fact that these people are not paying you to do something does not mean that you should be nonchalant, does not mean that you should be a coward, does not mean that you should take things for granted. If you are doing things and giving back, I mean, under the guise of giving back, doesn't mean that you have to be unprofessional, doesn't mean that you have to drop your balls, you have to lower your standards. No, that's why I mentioned that the same way you do things that you're paid for is the same way it's expected that you do things in giving back that you're not being paid for, right? So you need to determine that. That's why you have to make the decision on what you know that without any form of manipulation or cajole or without any form of you being pushed here and there. You need to decide on what you think would align with you giving back without any recourse. Then, once you make that decision, the next thing is for you to now make subscription or you apply to where you can execute this interest. You show interest, like what we say in projects, there must be a proof of interest. So you have to express your interest. Any project that wants to be executed, you want to determine who is best fit to execute it. They will say you have to apply for EOI, that expression of interest, submit your expression of interest. So the same thing, you need to submit an interest and see areas where you want to connect, areas where you want to engage, and determine exactly what you want to do within those spaces or those community. And if it's going to be individual, where we talk about in business, B2C, you are dealing directly with customers, you are dealing directly with individuals on your own terms, not on any agreed terms with community, but on your own terms. You need to determine it and then begin to move towards it. Some is going to be that you leveraging on your opportunities, within the space where you are currently uh, um, living your life. There are opportunities. So how then do you leverage those opportunities to help other people? Or you want to use your skill sets, or you want to use your possession. Whichever decision you make sure that it's something that rightly connects to how people are going to be meaningfully impacted. And talking about leadership, like I said, when we talked about discussed on emotional intelligence, one of the things that you begin to see and observe in your life is the more you're growing with high EQ, the more opportunity you're going to be seeing for leadership. So this also can be a good way by which you can express even at a greater level to have a greater impact. You can begin to see opportunity where you will seize in order for you to be able to emerge as a leader. And you want to even do this at the global level because it's going to give you proper feasibility for expressing yourself and connecting you even in a faster way, for you to be able to fulfill your purpose. And I also want to encourage you that always think global in your giving back. Think global. Never think local. Think global. The people you are meant to affect are not just, positioned locally, right? You need to think global, leveraging on technology for you to be able to impact the lives of people. And in other terms, in order to think global or work global, you can harness opportunities in partnership, in collaboration, even among the UNSDGs. You see that this is one of the global partnership and collaboration is one of the key objectives and the goals, right? Because at some point and the level of and the degree or intensity of problems that you need to solve might require more than you to solve, might mean that you bring in, you know, uh, um, multiple heads together in order for you to use a higher level of analysis to solve the problem. So these are ways by which I believe that you can connect and see. And there are quite a lot of courses out there, a lot of courses. But my counsel to you is start small and then begin to build capacity for you to sustainably engage in giving back. You can't shy away from it if you really desire to live a fulfilled life. However, determine specifically, with that level, high level of specificity, determine specifically where and which area you need to function and connect. Because doing so, you begin to see the level at which even your own life will begin to grow at a greater momentum. And this tempo that we are talking about will definitely be sustained, because the more lives you impact, the more opportunity is open to you, even for your own life too, to be rightly impacted. And for every life that you transform, for every community you change, is as good as you also upliving your own change, as it were. My final thought is this before I ask us for some reflections and share some of our own key values on how we have been connecting. Number one, you need to understand that the same way you are pursuing your purpose, right, and every other element associated with your purpose, including success and all the necessary skill sets that you need to acquire, those subject areas you need to build upon, all of these things are not, don't be deceived, they are not instantaneously built. It's a journey. Okay. It's a journey. And if you have never started doing all those things, now that you are hearing them on repeat, is the best time, is the best time, for you to begin to do it. Yesterday, like someone said, is a very good time for you to have started. Today is the next good time for you to start. Tomorrow might be too late. So think about it, right? How are you journeying? How are you moving? Do you think you have arrived so you don't need anybody to be impacted? You don't need any community to be transformed? That would be a deception, right? You are placed in those positions, you are given access to those opportunities, you're empowered, for you to have those resources, not just only for yourself, but for other destinies, other lives that are associated and connected with you. So it's good enough that you begin to think on how to expand your horizon and see beyond the limitations and begin to think global and then impact the lives of other people. I would rather choose, but when you choose, I would rather choose from today to begin to make some level of collaboration, some level of partnership. I mean, nothing stops even energizing this within this small cohort, within this small group. There should be some level of synergy that will happen. Those that are not functioning in any area, synergizing with those that are already functioning in some of the areas where there's alignment and there's strictly purpose-driven focus. You can share opportunities and you can leverage on technology as well. Some of you that have accounts on LinkedIn, which is a very highly professional networking tool or platform, and other social media platforms to technology that you can leverage on, to meet people, interact with people, to collaborate in order for you to be able to see opportunities where you can rightly impact the people, starting from within that group and of course to the hands of the head. So these are things that I believe will make a difference in your life and then give you that level of trajectory or build that consistent movement that you require in order for you to succeed. In this life's journey, I've met so many people at different fronts, not because of a business partnership, but impacting lives, making a difference in the life of other people. And sometimes you do this unknowingly, because you just know that this is what you're giving into. Because, like I said, it's not a job, it's a work. So you don't need to stress yourself about it or strain other areas of your life. And these might be the final words that will tell you, right? When you begin to observe that there are strain, consequence of some of the decisions you've taken as you are moving towards giving back, then is a pointer that you need to have a rethink, okay? Because it's not about opportunity cost. You are not making preference. There has to be a balance. There has to be, and move the balance up to another ground or another level where you achieve peace and harmony, right? There's nothing, you can't trade that off. And the only way you can do that is to ensure that there's this level of understanding across all the dimensions of your life. You don't pursue giving back at the expense of your spirituality. You don't pursue giving back at the expense of your career. You don't pursue giving back at the expense of your relationship. You don't pursue giving back at the expense of even your financial life, whereby you continue to get yourself impoverished under the guise that you're giving back. So there has to be a level of balance in the way you make decisions, and there has to be a level of balance also without being desperate, because there are, even when you die, still on this earth, there'll still be more problems for those that will remain on earth to solve. So don't think that you can solve all problems, right? The ones that you need to solve, which will not take away or pull you off, the level of relevance you need to have in other dimensions of life, is a major pointer to let you know whether you are doing right or you are making wrong decisions and giving back. So I'm going to stop here, so that there are so many other things I can say. Probably maybe sharing some of my own personal experience with you, how I started my own non-governmental organization, which is my major outfit, or how to look for giving back. Or maybe I should just give you an inclination. Perhaps anyone might want to ask or give some kind of comment in that direction. I remember when I began to see the importance of solving problems and see myself not just as a risk taker, but every risk I take is channeled towards impacting lives and solving people's problems, meeting people's needs. I see that this started pulling me towards living an unorganized life, right? My financial life not organized, my relationship not organized, even my spirituality being affected. So I have to then make a quick decision in ensuring that I achieve balance and I attain harmony, have this level of peace, such a way that I don't become, how should I put it now? I don't become apologetic to people. Like, someone so much think that you are the savior and you ended up not saving, you feel bad, especially when you begin to get those kind of comments and all of that. So I just want that level of sanity, and I can then begin to take right decision. Because if you are not within the confines of getting becoming sane, whatever decision you make cannot be right. So I need that same frame of mindset, and that's what establishing my NGO has actually helped me to attain. Because uh, um, I mean, unlike before, even if I'm going to do any CSR from our organization, if I'm going to do any giving back, donation, or whatever from my uh, uh, um, from personal or individual perspective, I always channel everything through my organization, and that has really bring some level of orderliness into my life. So, I mean, there are different ways of expression. Might not necessarily go in this way. It might be that you have to then partner with someone, or you have to volunteer in some other organizations or some other established initiatives and causes where you find relevance. And then you can also associate with the drive for your fulfillment of your purpose. So these are simple ways by which you can actually engage in giving back in order for you to maintain the momentum and the traction for your growth. So I'm going to stop here, and I will ask you to make some contributions, share your experiences, or if you think you are struggling and you've not been able to connect with this, I can help out in giving you some level of counsel or direction and all of that. Okay, so I open the platform for question and contribution. Question, contribution, giving back. What does it mean to you? How do you relate with it? Question, contribution. Please, you can't be
When
quiet. Yeah, please go ahead, Bravo.
I read a book, the title is Business Secrets from the Bible by one rabbi, and he says that he doesn't always support philanthropy. His thoughts is, he said that if you want to give back, create opportunities, job opportunities for people to work. So it's more like teaching them to fish than just giving them fish. It would make them more, empower them, grow them, help them to be better people than just giving out. It's not like he was against giving or, philanthropy, but his idea was, as a businessman, he said he's always advised business people to come to him for counseling, that they should create businesses, they should create job opportunities, that's way being giving out jobs is also a way of giving back. So what do you think about that?
Okay, so to Robert, or whoever you call the name, because I'm not sure I've read the book you mentioned. So giving job opportunity to him seems like giving back, if I hear you correctly, right?
Yes, he's saying he prefers business people creating job opportunities than just running philanthropy uh,
Okay,
organizations.
so
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. I get it now. So like I said, um, the way I'm communicating this to you as a premise, and the premise is very simple. We are talking about a purpose-driven life. We are talking about a life that is built and driven on purpose. Okay, most of these philanthropy, most of these charitable causes and charitable organizations, a lot of people are not driven in the direction of purpose. The question is, do they even understand purpose? I mean, that's just the curiosity. Someone would have lived 50 years, 40 years, and is not living in purpose. And it's not just only me being convinced about this. There are several researchers, there are several philosophers, psychologists, sociologists, who have written a lot and published a lot of their researches on this. Chief of them, who was an expert on leadership, Myers Muro, late Dr. Myers Muro, said it. He said the graveyard is the richest place where you see untapped potentials. So it's there. So the fact that someone has so much money, huge like Dangote, and can easily give 2 billion, or invest trillions of naira in his foundation, his charitable or philanthropic organization, does not necessarily mean that the person is doing purpose. It might just be doing it for business sake. I'll give you a very good example. This is a secret, except for those of you who are entrepreneur, you will know what I'm about to talk about. Do you know that part of the fiduciary duties of organization, I know it applies in almost all the countries of the world. Now that we are even pulling weight, the world is seriously creating awareness and creating advocacies around not just only social responsibility, even the corporate responsibilities around giving back, around solving problems. So beyond your profit making objectives is also that you need to be selfless and let that mindset drive the way you solve problem within the marketplace or industry where you function. So some will hide behind that and say, oh, because there's a policy that necessitates us to do CSR, there's a policy that necessitates us to do ESG, right? Because these are global awareness, these are global advocacies that necessitate for as many organizations, corporate individuals, corporate entities, sorry, who will want to key into these mandates or these aspirations and goals or initiatives. I mean, they are mandated once you sign some level of commitment, to participate or be part of this. You are definitely, and you're operating within those environments or within the industry, you have no choice than to fulfill those aspirations. So it's now more of a necessity that is facilitated by your responsibility to a commitment, not purpose. So that's the difference. So the intention is what justify the outcome, the intention, and the intention should not be different from purpose. Why you're doing this is simply because of purpose. Anything other than that is not valid as a good response, right? So he might say that because he knows that is, I mean, it's a business uh, um, opportunity for him, right? While some, yeah, might be right if as long as it's about purpose. So the bottom line is you can seek for opportunity to give back in any way, in any way. And the easy way is where you have your vision, where you can see, not where you can't see. Anywhere you, as you sit down, the extent to which you can see, those horizons are the easy way or easy places where you can start from. So if you're a business person, you can start from within your business, right? And if you're an employee, you can start from within your employment, right? By ensuring that you influence certain level of decision where you can influence. And sometimes I used to tell people that when we're even talking about this, it's not that uh, um, that huge commitment. It starts from little, little things. Start from little, little commitment. Is it a commitment towards, changing your environment and making it more livable, healthier and all of that? So why can't you lead people or take initiative on your own and decide that you're going to learn, the actions that need to be taken to ensure that you have a clean environment, through sanitation. Everywhere must be clean and it starts from you. The practice must start from you. Your office must be clean. You don't talk the talk, you do the talk, right? You even do more of the doing than the talking. So that's how you begin. And little, little things, because of the motive behind it is because you just want to make a difference and make an impact. And then that can scale up to when you now begin to see opportunity from a bigger perspective because you have the mindset of going global. So you begin to see how to, uh, uh, um, associate with global aspirations. I mean, just today, while I was having some conversation with my staff and some of my team members, in my NGO, we're just talking about, how to seek for more opportunities and collaborations and all of that. Right there, as we're talking, I just got some information, blah, 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 because there are quite a number of channels where I've already registered the interest of the organization, So you just send some mails and I was like, oh, opportunity for young people here. And, that became a brief for us and we jumped at it. So that is how one can then begin to scale up, the tract of opportunities, which will also enable you to now continue your own growth pathway as well. Any other comments, contribution, question on giving back or any challenge? Wow, everybody's quiet. I want to believe. Oh, okay, Dr. Shade, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it, you know, each of your sessions are so um, jam packed, um, and and I think what's really intimidating is that there's still so much more to learn about each subject. But you've done such an amazing job of pulling out the key points. And so as I'm, you know, reflecting briefly over this session, it's really exciting, and it's put me on a thinking path, and I assume that when I complete all of your assignments, it will really start to take hold and formulate into something tangible. Um, but you mentioned at the very end about wanting to be that support for anyone who has any ideas or wants to really dive into the conversation, and I would really like that. um, I think my problem has been, I mean, they've been identified in the previous sessions, and this is why I find this session, although exciting, intimidating. I would have I would have to have already worked out so much, as per your previous sessions, to be able to comfortably move forward in this session and this dimension. Um, but I find that I have so many things that I want to do, and they do have a commonality. I remember one of the assignments is to kind of place all of our passions, or dimensions into nodes, into like a Venn diagram. And so they have their commonalities, but it does get to a point where it's like, well, what do you start first? And I think you said something uh, you said something really important about leveraging on the skills that you kind of already dominate and walk comfortably in versus operating off of potential and things that you still have a lot of learning to do. Um, and so, wanting to revisit that and um, and I think, going back to the, most recent previous sessions about brainstorming with someone, be able to sit with you or any one of you in this group to brainstorm on, what if you have multiple skill sets and so many things overlap, how do you work with that? And so, yeah, a lot to think about. Thank you for this session.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Falashade. Sometimes I'm also even afraid of how to unpack all of these things because, remember on the one I told you is a journey of each aspect of my life, and trying to articulate them in a simple way is really, really big. You just need to see what I do on a daily basis to be able to unpack some of these things and be sure that I'm not misguiding you. I'm not just about to misguide you. So it's a whole lot of carefulness mixed with some kind of inner conflict that I just had to first of all resolve before coming in to engage you guys. But hey, thank you. Um, this particular conversation we're having today is something I have to unpack, in just this short time, and it's a journey of about 14 years. Talking about this giving back for me is a journey about 14 years. Talking about the consciousness of it. My life can be summarized in just this subject. However, the consciousness did not start until about 14 years. So imagine what you built in about 14 years, and trying to unravel it in just a few hours is a whole lot of facts. But the simple way I think you need to hold on to this is the fact that see it as an essential part of your journey, that if you let go, then it becomes impossible for you to attain your goal. It's impossible for you to actually get to your destination. And this has worked magic, if you are to put it in the lay terms. But if you are to put it in a supernatural way, it has worked out a lot of miracle for me in terms of opening doors, in terms of giving that kind of visibility you're going to be pursuing. That kind of, I mean, just imagine those things that is not working regularly in your natural life, right? Those things that you think you are struggling with, even in terms of, or maybe you're having serious challenge in a particular dimension of your life, the level of commitment you give to this would determine how much you are going to get solution or how much you are going to actually grow in those areas where you're having struggles. That has been my own experience. So I rather give more attention to this, focusing on purpose, and then let whatever the issue in those aspects of my life find its own redeem and cause. And usually you see the alignment. Oftentimes you see the alignment. So that's how it is. So I always seek for opportunity to give back. I seek for opportunity to actually engage in some of these things, and it helps. It helps. But you get to a level where I go to where you also need to now put proper organization around yourself to ensure that you are not just being used or feel being used, because it can be so overwhelming sometimes, but you need to be organized. You need to have that rhythm and enjoy the harmony, because that is when you can get that sense of fulfillment, and that's what I crave for everybody. It's not just doing it as if it's just charitable cause in that sense, but it's like you doing purpose, and you must be able to lay hold of harmony in whatever it is that you're engaging. Okay, I can see. Oh, okay. There's a comment. Thank you too. So I'll leave you to ponder on this. Like I said a few days ago, I'm not going to give you any assignment because I want you to have more time to be able to think about this and be able to set your goals for yourself this year. What exactly is that cause that you want to align with? What is that ways by which you want to amplify your giving back and doing it in a different way, in such a way that is not you doing things apologetically. You are not just being dogmatic about the process or about your decision, but you can see how relevant it is. I mean, towards the end of last year, I had to do a quick audit of my life and see that those things that uh, outstay their relevance in my purpose, I had to share them off. And I don't need anybody to give me a quick notice before I did that. And already, we are moving gradually to, by next month, we are moving into the end of Q1. I have to do another review and see how much impact that decision I took in December had on me in terms of whether I still need to shed off, and kind of like refine, my goals and refine my aspirations towards give. So it's something that you need to do on a continuous basis. Like I said, it's a journey, it's not a destination. Don't think, oh, I've been doing this. Oh, I've actually done this particular area. It might be that the time you are thinking about it is when you need to even call it quits and then transit into a higher level of responsibility or deployment of your skill set. So that's how you engage and then you keep moving on. Finally, please feel free. I'm just a call away. I'm a chat away. Um, at best, I can help out with us arranging for extra sessions. I can share my calendar. We can have extra sessions, 30 minutes, 1 hour max, for us to discuss further on any area where you're having struggles. And of course, as I'm going through your submissions, if I really need to have a one-on-one session with you, I'll also definitely reach out to you to see how to further guide you in those different areas. Thank you. We're going to stop here and then we'll convene again tomorrow.